Hey guys, Nick Rogue here, and welcome to another one of these amazing, outstanding instructional videos teaching just what you need to do to get her in bed tonight. And this one is actually a question that's been coming in, and I've been getting a lot of variations of this question, so I thought I would make a video for it. But if you guys have questions of your own and you'd like me to make a video for you, giving you just what you need to take her from the bar to your bedroom, please send those questions to me at nick@sns.gs. But the question goes, I have one big problem. When I talk to girls and I want to start to talk sexy and show her I want to have sex with her, I can't seem to escalate. I want to have sex. I have a problem in this part. For example, I talk about her interests, I touch her, I find her attractive, but I never can take the interaction down a sexual path. I can never get her horny. What do I do? Okay, this is a great question. This is actually a question that plagues more people than you would probably realize. You see, a lot of guys are not in touch with their sexuality. They're not in touch with female sexuality as well. If you're one of those guys and you are going out thinking that I have to do lots of things to convince this girl to have sex with me, because women aren't really all that into sex, well then you're going about this all wrong. Think about it this way. If you're in a bar and you see a really attractive girl, how long do you think it took her to get ready to go to that bar? How long did it take you to get ready? Odds are it took her 2, maybe 3 hours as she was trying out different outfits, teasing her hair, trying to get it just right, doing her makeup, wearing uncomfortable clothes. I mean, talk about if they're wearing high heels or if they are wearing anything else that's really form-fitting. She is probably uncomfortable a lot of the night. Now, why is she doing all this? Because she wants, on a very unconscious level, to get laid. It is your job as a man to be able to give her what she wants. Now, there's been many studies that have shown how women are far more sexual than men, but you need to be able to arouse this in her. You need to get those unconscious urges that are lurking just beneath the surface to come up. And the funny thing is, when you see all these things, and women give you many opportunities to escalate on them, and a lot of the times, us as guys, we miss those things and we don't act on them. And you know what that feels like? It feels like rejection to her. It feels like if you were to walk up to a girl and say, hey, how's it going? And she said, fuck off, douchebag. That's about how a woman feels when you are not appreciating her efforts and her signals showing that, hey, escalate on me. Now, a lot of guys have this weird, I don't know, we'll call it a weird problem, for lack of a better word, where they fear that if they go out and use the stuff that I've been teaching you in these videos, that it's actually going to work. And then you're actually going to have to perform in bed. And then you're worried that she's going to be disappointed in her sexual experience. And so you don't even bother doing any of the stuff that you need to do to get her in bed, just because you don't want her to be disappointed in the end after the sex has occurred. It's far more common than you would think. And really the surefire cure for this is you need to start getting laid more. Now, it could be between you and I'm not going to tell, but if you are lacking in sexual experience, it's always going to be more, you're always going to have more anxiety trying to escalate things to sex than if you have had more experience. So between you and I, if you aren't as experienced as you'd like to be, go out and get that experience. What am I saying? If you are uncomfortable escalating on really attractive girls, guys, if you need to, go a point or two down from what you find is your ideal. Nobody has to know. You can find them online or something. You never have to tell me. It'll be our little secret until you can, and bang them as much as possible until you become accustomed to it. Then you can go out and go for all those really attractive girls you want. Now, feel free to skip that step if you are not experiencing that sexual anxiety, but it is an easy way for you to get a little bit of experience under your belt so that you are more comfortable sexually escalating on those girls that you want. Now, let's get into the actual nuts and bolts of the interaction and how to sexually escalate in the interaction. And here's where you want to start first. it's my opinion that you are probably waiting for this perfect opportune moment, 20, 30 minutes, an hour into the interaction before you are starting to set that sexual vibe. And if you're doing that, it is probably a little bit too late. In fact, you want to be starting that as early in the interaction as possible, because if you've gone the entire interaction, you've never really flirted with her, you've never started getting that sexuality going, when you do finally do that an hour in, it's going to come across as weird. Why? Because she's already thinking of you as either a friend or, even worse, just the entertainment for tonight. This is a problem, and it's endemic when you are not setting the tone right from the beginning. You need to start boosting that sexuality from the very beginning so that it sets that path down the path towards sex. And the funny thing is, if you could start sexualizing that interaction right from the beginning, you can actually go back and talk about all of those friendly little topics. You can talk about her job, her kid sister, her puppy dog. Any of those things are going to be fine topics of conversation so long as she views the interaction as a potentially sexual interaction. So if you want to be able to do that, here's a few things that you can do. And here's some classic ones. You don't even need to be overtly sexual to start off with. In fact, it's probably not going to be as part of that calibrated escalation like I talked about in the last video if you are being overtly sexual right from the beginning. But you can be flirtatious. I'm going to give you some of my favorite ones. And I mean, these are ones that you can use on just about every girl, and it will start that vibe and head it in a path that's more sexual and make it that much easier for you to bring out more sexuality later on than had you talked about who lies more, or you talked about a present that you should buy your niece. One thing that I want to get out of the way within the first minute or so of the interactions, I want to set that frame. Here's two things that you can use that are surefire. They work almost every time. They're almost universally accepted, and they get the interaction going down that path. First one is, you know what? You look like a really nice girl, but I detect a serious naughty side. Now, what girl on the planet is not going to have that naughty side? I don't care who the girl is. I don't care if it's that sweet little girl that goes to church every week. I don't care if it's Mother Teresa. I don't care if it is and this is something that you don't want to think about. But you know what? And please feel free to get all sorts of psychological therapy after this, but your grandmother, she had a naughty side. How do I know that? Well, you're watching this video right now. What is happening when you do this and when you deliver this line is that you are giving her permission to act on that naughty side that she already has. You're giving her permission to be free and express that side of herself. Not a bad place to start. Another one that I like to use is, I can tell by the way you move that you have a wicked, adventurous side. Tell me about your last adventure. Now this one is not only giving her permission to be adventurous, but it's also baiting her to invest by having her tell a story about her last adventure. And guys, in a woman's mind, adventure and sexuality they go hand in hand. So once you can get her thinking about adventure, you've basically got her thinking about sexuality as well. These are some of my two favorite things that I'll do early in the conversation. I'm talking within the first minute to get the conversation steered towards sex. Now, another thing that you can do is you need to start pushing the boundaries. And trust me, guys, the boundaries are almost always further than you think. You might think that, I am just pushing this too far. I'm going too far with this. And odds are you're not even touching even the near side of how far you can take things. I'm going to give you an example of something that happened to me. And it was actually a couple years back. And it was an example of where, had I known something, I would have thought the boundaries were much closer. But because I was unaware of something, I pushed the boundaries even further than I would have. Here's the story. I meet two girls, very attractive. One's obviously a little bit older than the other one, but it didn't seem like too much. I thought, they were possibly co-workers. They could have been friends. They could have even been sisters. So I'm flirting with them. I'm having a good time. I'm saying just filthy, horrible things I was not necessarily being the most discreet, and that was a mistake. I also didn't find out the logistical situation. Mistake. But at one point in the interaction, I can remember saying that I was going to go take the younger one and fuck her in the bush, fuck her in the ass behind the bushes. Is that okay with you? Asking the other one. She said, oh yeah, it's fine. Now, I flirted and time went on, and it was just a fun interaction. They were both fun girls, and it came time, like, all right, I need to start moving this girl around. As I moved this girl around, she's like, you do realize that was my mom back there. Now, had I known that that was her mom, I would never have been talking about fucking her in the ass in the bushes in front of her mom. However, because I was able to recover from all those mistakes in other ways and get this girl really turned on, and the mom actually, for some strange reason, liked me, I was actually able to take that girl up into the hotel in the Wynn and bang her in the ass. But had I known that that was her mom, I never would have said something. But it just goes to show, those boundaries are oftentimes further than you think. So always be pushing. Now, of course, this kind of goes against that last video I did where I talked about calibrated escalation. I made many mistakes in that interaction. Luckily, I was able to overcome them by doing other things right. But it just goes to show that you are probably not pushing things as far as you could. And in fact, if you're ever at a point in the interaction, and I guarantee you guys have all had this happen, where you got to the point in the interaction where you just ran out of stuff to say, or it just kind of starts going flat. What to do then? Well, I can tell you right now, the best thing that you could do if you reach that point in the interaction where things just go flat or you run out of stuff to say, that is the perfect time for you to really push the boundaries and go for some outrageous escalation. The reason why is, well, you're probably going to leave anyway. It's not going all that great. You're probably either going to just sit there and spin your wheels and be frustrated. You're going to leave, or you could make a bold move, and you're going to have one of two things happen. One is she's going to let you know that a little too much, too late, and you can leave, which you were going to do anyways, or she's going to be, fuck yeah, all right, thank you. It's about time this happened, and she's going to be totally into it. And it's going to boost the interaction that much more. Now, the guy who wrote this email, incidentally, he is not alone. There's lots of guys that have been coming to me asking, how do I rapidly sexualize interaction? And, well, that's why they come to me. That's my specialty. So right now, if you're having the same problem, you have a couple of options. You can keep doing the same thing that you've been doing and keep getting the same results, going home frustrated, doing all of that kind of stuff over and over again. Or you could take the advice that I've given in this video and start sexualizing each of those interactions. You could start to steer the conversation and the interaction down the path towards the bedroom. But if you really want to master this, and you don't necessarily want to wait for my next video to come out, you don't want to go out there just blind, you want to know everything there is to know about rapidly sexualizing the interaction so that you can get her into bed as quickly as possible, well, I've created a course called Same Night Seduction Simplified, and in this course I make it super simple. I break down exactly how to escalate the entire process from approaching all the way to getting her in bed in under a couple of hours. And within just barely getting it, you are going to be able to understand exactly the different pieces that it takes to get a girl into bed. And really, that's not all. I'm going to be giving you some pretty cool bonuses. For example, I'm going to be giving you actual in-field video of what it looks like to be seducing a girl from the beginning to the end. It's not going to be just me. It's going to be epic as well, and you'll get to see. And yes, I know I make it look effortless. He does too, but you're going to be doing just as good or better if you follow our advice. And all this comes back with our guarantee. If you don't like it, just let us know. We won't charge you for it. All that business. If that sounds like something that's awesome to you, go ahead and click the Add to Cart button, and we will see you soon in the Academy. Otherwise, we'll see you in an upcoming video. If you do have questions, feel free to send me an email, and I might just make another one of these videos. Till then, get some.